Hello everybody, this is Hemant Kumar Devre. Once again I welcome you all. In the last part of video, that is part 2, we have learned about Jainism, and today we will learn about the remaining topics of the lesson, that is the Buddhist Sangha. Okay, if you look into your textbook, you will find this. Now, where these people like Buddha and Mahavira, where these people have gone and where they meditated. Okay, so here we have to learn this. The Buddhist Sangha, Buddha felt that only those who left their homes they could gain knowledge. Yeah, it is correctly said. Okay, if you want to gain some knowledge, get some enlightenment, so you have to leave your home, because there, if you are living with your home and the members of your home, so there it is quite impossible to get some enlightenment. So Buddha was strongly believing that if you those who left their homes, they could only gain the knowledge, and Buddha organized these people into sangha. Sangha means like a team, so where they could stay together, and then Buddha organized them in a sangha. So the rules for these people were written in Vinay Pitaka. Okay, whatever rules are there, like to run our country, we have the book, a super law book, that is Indian Constitution. So like this, the people those who were living in sangha, for them there were certain rules, and those rules were written in Vinay Pitaka. So men and women, those who joined Sangha, they have to live very simple life. Means they led very simple lives. For most of the day, they meditated and taught others. Means when they were meditating, whatever they have gone, whatever they realize, okay, so they used to teach to the people. They help each other and also settled quarrels with the Sangha. Means there are certain things happens in the home also. Okay, so the same way, the people those who were living in Sangha, there were certain quarrels between them. So these also, to resolve all this, that was also part of the people to solve. Now, at fixed times, the members of the Sangha went to cities and villages to beg for food. Now, there was nobody to serve them, prepared food to cook and to serve. So they have to go village in the villages, and they have to beg for the food. So that is why they were known as bhikkhus, or we can say bhikkhunis. Okay, so Jains were bhikkhus and the ladies were called bhikkhunis. So in the Prakrit language, bhikkhus and bhikkhunis means beggar, the one who beg for that. Okay, here you can see Buddha teaching his disciples whatever enlightenment they are getting through the meditation and all. Buddha used to teach them. Now, another topic is monasteries. So, what is monastery? The bhikkhus and bhikkhunis were taught and travel all the time. Okay, they were always on the move. In the rainy season, it was very difficult to travel, because that time the situations were very harsh to move from one village to another village. So they stayed in one place, and for those 4 months they lived there, and that is also called as Chaturmas. Okay, so that's time they built a very temporary shelters to live in. Temporary shelters has to be built, and then they were used to live during that rainy season time. As time passed, the monks and nuns they felt that it would be better to have a permanent place to live in. So these permanent shelters were the caves or the viharas made of wood. The land and building usually would be donated by rich people in the areas. So there, this land was donated by the rich people of the areas, and they used to build a strong place as a permanent place to live in. Now, another question comes to our mind: how could the poor Buddhist monks build monasteries for themselves? They were not having that much resources to build, as we have seen in the last lesson. Kings used to build this fortification, and that for that they need resources, money, and many kinds of materials to build. So how these people can build it? So there was a question, such a monasteries and all, so how they can build it? It was built with the help of the local rulers of that area. Now let us understand the story of Mahavira. Story of Mahavira starts here. He was a Prince Vardhaman was from a kingdom of Bihar. He would meditate and think a lot of even as a child. When he was a child, that time he used to meditate and think a lot. So at the age of 30, he left his home, lived like a monk for 12 years. He left everything and he lived like a monk. He spent his whole life traveling around India and that too barefoot, without clothes as well. Even in harsh weather, he was telling people to be good. So he had spread always a good messages. Mahavira preached, means teach, means develop, and also inculcated his good ideas of the Jain religion. And the Jain call him Tirthankar, one who shows the ways. Tirthankar means one who shows the ways. Mahavira's teachings were very, very simple. He thought men and women who wanted to get knowledge had to leave the home. Buddha also said the same. They had to strictly follow the ahimsa. There were certain rules, certain basic principles. So that was ahimsa, means non-violence, which is not hurting or killing any living being, animal or human. And Mahavira also preached in the language of the people so that people could easily understand and acquire the knowledge. So, which was another form of the Prakrit, and that was called as Magadhi language. The followers of Mahavira were called as Jainas. Now, what the rules were there? Rules for Jainas were very strict and they were very tough to follow. It was hard to become a Jain monk. I have explained also in the last video. So, however, people who could not follow these rules themselves, okay, these rules, the rules themselves still help the monks. Those who are unable to follow, they help by serving them. They could, okay, and the Jainas had to lead very simple lives, and that was very absolutely honest, very honest. They had to be. They had to beg for food. They had to give up everything, even their clothes as well. They could not have families either, means leaving everything away back, and they have to be they have to join these kind of monasteries to gain the knowledge. Jain monks and nuns still walk barefoot, still they are walking. We can see on the roads these white dresses they are having some broom so that no small insects should come in their way. They sweep the ground in front of them as they walk so that they don't accidentally step on the insects and they kill them. So they strongly believe in ahimsa. Now, what similarities do you see in Buddhism? One similarity we can see Buddhism and Jainism, that is they have to leave their homes, they have to bake, and many things, other things you can find out. Try to find out. This is a very important question. Now, why it was hard to be a follower of Mahavira? Because ahimsa and their rules were very strict. Okay, even the farmers they are tilling the land, so there are many insects and they are coming in. So the farmers were mainly not. Traders were only the followers of. Means mainly traders were following. There are some farmers also, but those who left their house. Upanishads we have studied earlier. So this is what the short story of Upanishad that I have showed. Now, another topic is ashram system. Okay, in our life we have to undergo in the four ashramas. Our life goes in the ashram system. Now, Vedic people, those who were there, they had a different way of life. Okay, what was their view of their life? So they had divided their lifespan from birth till death into the four parts, and in each part they focus in different activities. So there are four parts. They have divided complete life from birth till death, and each part was into the they focus in different activities. So this is called as ashram system. They also considered that people lived for 100 years, and 100-year lifespan was divided into four ashramas. So the four parts were based on the age, so that each part was 25 years long. It was approximate. Though age 0 to 24, that was the purpose for studying. Means the child lived with the guru and gained the knowledge. Okay, till 24 years. Now another that is the 0 to 24 is Brahmacharya ashram. Then after that 25 onwards till 49 years of age, Grihastha ashram. And main purpose of this lifespan was family life. The man got married here in this span of life. He had a family and look after them. He also worked for society and for his religion as well. So that was Grihasthashram. Then third comes from year 50 to 74, that is Vanaprasthashram. Here people have to retire from their all the works and all. and here they have to advise others whatever they have gained the experiences during both the ashramas, earlier two ashramas. So the man gets retired here. He handed over the responsibilities to the other and helped to share the wisdom whatever he had gained. Then the last comes sannyas ashram, that is age 75 onwards. Here, a person used to get a spiritual freedom. The man would give up everything here, whatever he possesses or she possesses, like a sannyasi, okay, like a monk he has to roam. He would spend most of his time in meditation. So this is what ashram. All ashram system is. All this is about the men, but what about the women? The women were not allowed to go to school that time, so they did not have the first ashram at all. After that, they just followed the ashrama that their husbands were in. Okay, they have to follow the same. Now another question is there. What is the ashram system that I have told you here? What was the purpose of each ashrama? So you can answer the questions very simply. Thank you so much for with me till this time. So dear children, kindly learn properly, read properly and understand properly. Okay, thank you so much, and keep your textbook with you for watching all the videos to understand, to relate the topics very properly. I shall see you in the next lesson and the next video. Till that time, take care and bye bye. Keep studying.